So anyway, let's see. So yes, with that, we've concluded our Paper Mario playthrough. It was a lot of fun. So with that, now we can talk about the... now this is the time. My favorite... probably have to restart. Okay, that's cool. And yeah, I can just review. I'm going to do a review with this background in the background because I like this music. So this is my favorite part. This is everyone's favorite part of my playthroughs. Not really, but is my... after I finish every game, I usually do a bit of a review about my experiences and my thoughts about how much about this game, about the game I've just played, or what I found was awesome and what I found was not as awesome. And usually I pick pretty good games, so usually they're not too flawed or anything, or they're usually not a lot of things where I'm just complaining incessantly how the game's bad or something. So anyway, well, with the kind of, usually with these kind of games, like this is an RPG, I usually consider story, graphics, sound, music design, and also gameplay, or like a little bit of a talk about the battle system and so on. Now, about the story, like this is a Paper Mario game, so this is a Mario RPG. And to be honest, like the story's like, look, the story's not anything like, okay, you're going through everything and you're trying to save things, and you're trying to save the princess. That's the simplest story you can have. And of course, and you're trying to bring peace to the world again, from Bowser, who is normally the troublemaker. Now, the thing is that what I did like about this, probably more, yeah, okay, good point. I'm actually, because the sound is very, very loud, I'm also going to lower down the audio. Let's do that. Lower it down to 15. Okay, I think I lowered it down to a lot lower. Can everyone hear me a lot better now? I will just wait before I could start the review. How's everyone doing? How's it now? I've lowered down the volume since then. This is one of those things where, once again, we're suffering from Twitch delay, so anything I do takes a while to register and someone else. Okay, much better? Cool. Yeah, I lowered it down all the way to 15% of its normal volume. The one thing is, like, this game is very loud, but anyway, so I'll talk a little about the story. And as I said, yes, the story is very simple. It's just it's just Mario saving the princess and saving the world from Bowser, who has terrorized the world. But one thing I liked a lot was the... there's like no music. Yeah, because my audio is really overpowering. And there's not much I can do about that. I mean, yeah, I can make it a little... That's good enough, I think. And like, don't worry about the music, because my voice is more important now. So one thing I want to mention was... excuse me. Like, there are some interesting things, even with the little tiny stories you did in each area. So, certain events happened of, like, surprising you. And there were some like, I was talking to Flaw about this at some point, but, like, there's things like the Tubba Blubba chase, which is really memorable, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really, really scared. It actually would really scare you as a kid. And, like, there's just really fun things like the haunted place. So, every area we visited pretty much had a really strong character. So even if there's not really a plot that's very complicated or has tons of romance or drama, but there was still like things like you could enjoy from each world, and you got to know the people in the world were very interesting, and like the little things that happened were there too, were really interesting too. And most of all, it's carried a lot. The Paper Mario is carried a lot by its fun characters. Even your even your own party members like Goombario or Bo or Wad or let's see, Cooper, Power Carry, Mr. Lackluster himself, and of course Sushi, who we can't forget. So they all had their own individual personalities. So the game works a lot, yes, as Zeo Corvid says, it's basically a game that works a lot on charm. And like, it's not, like, it's a lot like how Lunar is too. But I feel like this game has a bit more, like, I think of course this game is more mass appeal in comparison to Lunar. Lunar is nice too, and like it had some drama, but it's a bit different It was a little more dramatic than Paper Mario, but Paper Mario has a lot of fun characters with very interesting, fun and bright personalities, and that made you go through the game because a lot of Mario himself doesn't actually do too much. Well, I don't know. He does nod and say and think for a second, but you know, he's not. He's the star and he's gonna do all the work, but the supporting cast is also really fun, and even the Princess Peach segments were really fun to do, and there were like nice little like intermissions between chapters so that it didn't get too samey. You know, one of the things that a lot of RPGs do, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in gameplay, but a lot of RPGs tend to get a little samey, or like the experience feels like it's just a drag and you're going through the same thing, and I like how they broke that up. So yeah, the story is really fun, and like even though you're like, oh, it's childish, but honestly, like you still feel good, like you still felt like you experienced a fun story or something to like break away from like reality, you know, and like you got to see like awesome characters at the same time. So I really do I like it a lot. I'm like, and honestly, like I think a lot of people underestimate like how powerful even children's stories can be, even for adults. And like I feel like this is one of those cases where like you can see, and like the little jokes and everything that were thrown in, and that helped a lot to make this game awesome and make the game fun. So every time I was playing this stream, I was really excited to see what would happen. And anyway, yes, I think I've talked enough about that. So graphics wise, here's the thing. This game is all about style. This is not the game that was pushing the... Like, this game is on the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 is a console made in the 1996. So we're not expecting 2015 level of graphics. But even for the time, like, this style of game has aged a lot better than most of the games from this era, like Nintendo 60, like most of the 64 games, or the PlayStation 1, which is also around the same time, or the Sega Saturn. And like these 2D games have aged a lot better because like the art style was so good and it's so unique. So when you saw all the characters, you didn't feel like, okay, well, it looks kind of like really blocky and awful, and like no, like there was some 3D and like you can tell like the game is dated, but the paper look, it was so unique at the time. It was such an interesting way to present a story, and that I feel like gives this game another point of charm too, because like when I see this style, I was like, that's Paper Mario, and it's so powerful that it's even nowadays, even people today still want to make fan art or dedication of like, I want to do something in this Paper Mario style because I really liked it. And like the little subtle things, like the animations of the paper characters as you went through, that brought so much. And even the large characters being like large folds of paper, that added so much more to like making this game feel alive, making this game feel like it's a real paper world. And that's half of what adds to the fun of it. And the thing is, like, the art's well done and it's like clean, and so you don't feel like this game is so dated that you're just like, oh well, it's gonna look like, it's not gonna look like I don't know, Metal Gear Solid did in its day. So honestly, like, this is such a great way to, okay, this is more of a technical thing, but it's a great way to hide like the technical flaw limitations of the Nintendo 64 back then, because the Nintendo 64 is not all that strong either. And so I think it really worked out, and I really do think like you can tell that how polished it was for the time. The other thing yeah, I love it. The art's really nice, and like I really look at the menus and I really want to. Bowser was not 3D. Bowser was a 2D sprite, just like everybody else. And like they did some special effects on him to make him look more big, like 3D, but they were able to do it in such a way that it looked really good. Almost none of the characters were true 3D, but not only does it help with performance, obviously, but yeah. Yeah, the only thing, there were only like a few sorry, a few places where they used 3D, but most of the characters, almost all the characters were 2D, and it worked out really, really well. And yes, that's because the fake Bowser is 3D. That's how you know he's fake. That is very true. So yeah, the graphical style works really well, and to kind of make it very friendly too. And I know like a lot of RPGs are like very I don't know. Let me think. A lot of RPGs at this time were like pushing like, okay, we're gonna make this really 3D, and we're gonna make it with all these polys and painted backgrounds, and like this game was like, no, we're gonna keep it simple. It's gonna be paper. It's going to be stand out. It's going to be a really, really art style. And I guess in a way, it's just a way to show that art style makes a lot of difference. Much more than just graphical power. But that's, I mean, it's a kind of a separate technical discussion. But anyway, is there anything else I wanted to say about it? I mean, like, some of the menu background art I really do want to take. Like, some of the art, like, when they were when you can look at, they show the illustrations of all the characters, of all the party members, when with Mario using them. That would be awesome. Alright, so I've talked enough about graphics, and like, I have to say the sound and music of this game is awesome. Like, you can tell, like, that's one thing, like, I really do like the music in this game a lot. And, I, like, all the sound effects sound really interesting. You can, it's very satisfying. Even in battle, you can tell, like, you hear that sound when you do a nice, it just feels really, really satisfying. It's just little sound design things like that make the player feel good. Like, that's good player feedback. But the more importantly is the music is really, really good. And there's some standout tracks I'm probably gonna go look up later and get. Maybe I'll probably get a Paper Mario soundtrack because I want to hear some of those tracks again. And all the bosses had unique music themes, and that kind of gave them character too, and that's awesome. Because, like, oftentimes, like, in RPGs, you only get, like, maybe 1 or 2 boss themes. In this game, you get, like, 7. You get 8, if you count Bowser. And that's awesome. And, like, you can tell they really tried hard to, like, evoke the feeling of each world. And you can even, like, the change of music from Flower Fields. In Flower Fields when it's dark to Flower Fields when it's sunny. It's awesome. And this also, you can, so that's those touches, because music really does play a huge role in this too. And like, yes, you can just tell the sound design is awesome. Let me think, anything else? Yes, the sound, anything else about the sound I can think of? But yeah, the sound effects make a whole lot of difference in battle too. Oh, I already mentioned that anyway. So, with that said, now that that's out of the way, keep in mind I'm not really a sound designer, so I can't, musician, so I can't really say anything else about the actual nitty gritty about how each song. So I'm gonna move to gameplay, which I do have a lot of interest in. Now, here's the thing about this battle system. Sure, like, okay, it's turn-based, but one of the interesting things they made it like this battle system really, in a way, it's simple, but there's a lot of, you can still do a lot of fun things with it, and it feels like your skill kind of does matter, and like the way the game is paced is that you can make you have to be awake on every single battle, because if you're not on the ball in every battle, you're just going to get rocked really, really fast. If you don't time those attacks right, if you don't attack right, you just do less damage, and it could cost everything. And like, I like how they've managed to make the leveling system very like it's sort of like you can of course you can grind and make the game a lot easier, but you don't have to. In fact, it's probably faster if you don't, because you just get levels, and like the thing is, they stop you from grinding on really low levels because you don't get EXP from really low people much lower level than you. But what I really liked about this, like in comparison to like, let's just say Lunar, or which is the other RPG we played a long time, or the Shenzhen series. I'm sorry, I know that Illusion Queen really likes Shenzhen. One of the things Shenzhen is awesome, but I don't like, the battle system is not as awesome. And like in that battle system, it was more about turn-based. It was really easy. Whereas this game is more like you need to really like, even though it's turn-based, you need to be on the ball. You need to be focused on what's going. And I actually really do like that a lot. And so the battles don't feel tedious. You do get panicky sometimes, but you will be watching and making sure like Mario's okay, and you just not. And it's really done. It's done really well. So to kind of combine the action, like what Mario is known for, platforming, alongside the RPG battle system. That's pretty. That was really cool. And it works really well. And the game is just well paced. Like you can kind of, I mean, there's a few guide dangits. Let's be fair. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten some of this stuff. Yes, it's like an action turn-based RPG. Yeah, so it took a lot of the stuff from the game Super Mario RPG, which was a Square Enix. This is not Square Enix back then. It was SquareSoft and Nintendo working together. Yeah, and Zelo says like those are the most interesting, and I do agree. Like giving this that element of, I mean, some people don't prefer it. I do know a bunch of people who are like, I'm terrible at action games. I want every game to be turn-based because I don't want to use my reflexes, and that's perfectly valid point of view. But for myself, I do also agree that I like active battle systems better, ones where I don't use the same strategy each time, and ones where I actually have to be engaged and make every encounter interesting. And like this is one of those games that like it, in terms of battle system enjoyment, I really do think that I enjoyed this game's battle system. A Mario game of all things, a Mario RPG, but I enjoyed this battle system more than I did Lunar and Shenzhen 1 and 2. And like it's not because, and not that those battle systems are necessarily bad, but it's just like the urgency just isn't there. And you didn't have to strategize like you did in this game, where you have like, okay, picking the correct enemy to attack first, or you shifting your turn order. And it was nice and simple, where you only have 2 party members, but that makes every battle work really well. So you coordinating your 2 party members together and trying to make sure nothing bad happens, and that's awesome. And that makes the battle fun. And makes it interesting. And I really do have to say, like, the pacing of the game is, I think it's pretty good. Because even if I mean, sure, it might have been a little harder if I didn't have some of the stuff like Power Plus or whatever, but, and even without the guide dangits, I probably would have been able to play through anyway, and I still would have enjoyed it. I mean, thank you to everyone on stream. Y'all, like, I think that, like, you guys helped me a lot. Sometimes I'm almost wondering if I had asked for help way too much. And that's maybe something I should think about next time, where I'm having people having way too much help. I mean, I do enjoy your help, so I cannot say that I didn't enjoy it. I'm glad that so many people, even with the guide dangits and some of those places, I'm like, I would never have found that. I do enjoy the fact that even like I was able to enjoy the game with everybody and kind of play it in front of people who had played the game before. Anyway, I'm getting off the gameplay wise. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Like, the battle system works, and I like the limitations they've set. I mean, most people are like, why would you want your power to be limited? Because I don't want the game to be super easy. The problem with super easy games is that you start falling asleep. And like that happened to me. That almost happened to me a few times in like other games where it got really boring because the battles became not mind-numbingly easy. It was just a matter of like powering through, or they were just like you were using the same strategy each time. But in this game, you don't have to use the same strategy each time because all the encounters are different and enemies are attacked differently, and you had to use badges and different things, and it's awesome. There's so much depth for such a simple concept, and that's what makes this game unique. And I'm guessing maybe this kind of, and hopefully it will make, hopefully the other Mario games like in this vein are also this awesome. I'm actually looking forward someday to playing the GameCube one, but I mean, we won't talk about that because I haven't played it yet, and it's not on the list for this year as of this moment. Anyway, so I guess in general, would I recommend, so moving on, in general, would I recommend this game? Yes, I really do. And even if you're a kid and it might be a little hard for you to time everything, I really do think that this is a good game for everyone. Everyone should be able to enjoy it, even if you have to use an emulator, or if you play on the Wii U Virtual Console, that's fine. I mean, like, you can play it on the Wii Virtual Console, the Wii U Virtual Console. If you have any of those two systems, and you don't, you always have the emulators, and like, you should go ahead and play this game because it really is awesome, and you can tell like the whole package just is awesome, and that's why this game has so many fans. That's why this is probably the most popular game I've ever played on this stream, in terms of like people tuning in compared to like other, and it's because a lot of people did get to play this game and enjoyed it as either as children or recently or whatever, and like even I as like an adult am enjoying this game a lot, and I don't feel like, oh, this game's too easy, or this game's too simple, and like, this is just a testament to how awesome this game is. And thank you to all the Paper Mario fans all throughout the streams who helped me a lot, especially Zelo, who was the most frequent fan to be here. And I really do appreciate it a lot. And like, that helped my enjoyment of the game even more. And I'm looking forward to playing Paper Mario on the GameCube someday. And I hope I can continue this series eventually when I pick it up again. And alright, and let me think, anything else? I think I've covered everything. And I think with that we can end our review right there. Yo, that's me. And I guess, yeah, thank you very much, Zelo, and thank you all of everybody. And like, really, I really would recommend to everybody who has played it, even though I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. So, and thank you all you guys as well, all of you on the viewers who have chimed in, like SO2 today, helping me out as well. And yeah, Paper Mario fans are awesome, by the way. I really am glad you guys came to the stream and enjoyed it. Alright, with that we can end our review, and alright, now I can talk about future plans about oh